anyone ready for some more copium-filled, delicious Starfield news?
First off, Starfield just got a new update. For me on Steam, this is around 1 gigabyte, and for Xbox users, it was a bit larger at 2.6 gigabytes in total. This update was in beta on Steam for the last couple of weeks, but there was actually one
Do not laugh about the big update being just 1 gigabyte. It's a miracle Bethesda even updates this, honestly.
critical fix that shipped with this one that wasn't included in the beta. They addressed the bug where space matter, mostly asteroids, would get stuck on your ship. So basically, as you attempted to fly around, there would just be other things moving with you or even intersecting your ship directly.
Oh yeah, we know this one. Space Buddy Rock. It constantly follows you no matter where you go. So this is a thing about space travel. Not space travel, but this kind of space travel in Starfield. In reality, you're just in a room that cycles scenery. You don't actually move when you're doing this. Everything just moves around you, and it creates the illusion of going forward. So yeah, space exploration in Starfield, 10 out of 10 banger.
Kind of funny at first, but then after playing for several hours like this, it does get pretty old. And there was even a second bug where New Atlantis, the entire city, could also become attached to your ship. Unfortunately, that one wasn't fixed today, but Bethesda does state here that it'll be fixed in a coming update. So this is great. No more asteroids stuck to your ship while exploring, except it doesn't fully fix this, as almost immediately after the update dropped, users began posting online that they still had an asteroid stuck to their ship.
Now they have 2 asteroids stuck to their ship. Remember, when Bethesda fixes something, they don't actually fix anything. I honestly would not be surprised that Bethesda openly just knows that they need to try to create an illusion of them fixing things. So they take a minor bug that not a lot of people experience and just claim that they fixed it. But in reality, they didn't even find it. They don't even know why it's happening. And then something like this happens. Now instead of 1 bug, you have 2 bugs. That is the Bethesda way. The only thing Bethesda does know how to fix is things that people like. Same with Blizzard, honestly. I don't know what's the deal with all these shit tier AAA developer companies. But man, it's for certain. They don't know how to fix bugs. They don't know how to make good games. But if there's something that people like in the game, they're gonna nerf that. That's for sure. Bethesda does this. Blizzard does this. The moment people find something in a single-player game that they like, and everyone loves using it, nerfed. Gone. Maybe even banned for abusing bugs. Who knows, honestly, right?
Even doing things like loading earlier saves or switching ships would not fix the issue. So it seems like the asteroid bug was only partially fixed with this update. Although one of the community managers for Starfield actually responded to a post highlighting this, saying, "Hello, to anyone still experiencing the persistent asteroids, we'd love to know what platform you're playing on. If you could drop a reply letting us know, I might also reach out to a few of you for some saves." So at the very least, they thankfully are aware this is a persistent issue even after the update, and are actively taking steps to resolve this completely. They fixed one of the most prominent weapon exploits in the game right now. So basically how this would work is you could place a bunch of weapon cases at your outpost, and if you just quick saved, then loaded that save, all of the weapon cases you just placed down would now be filled with weapons. And of course, this was free. You just had to pay some resources to create the case, but after that, you could sell all of those weapons for tons of credits.
Dude, doing this... Again, why would Bethesda fix this? People, if someone is stupid enough to actually do this, let them. Because the reality is like this. Outpost resource generation is free infinity resources, essentially. There's literally nothing stopping you from... The moment you make an outpost, you have infinity resources. That's it. You don't even have to try hard. 3 minutes to make an outpost, infinity resources. Let's go, baby. And... if someone wants to do this, create a bunch of weapon cases, take those weapons and sell them to the vendor, good luck. That's probably 2 hours of real life effort just standing there waiting at the vendor until, the timer refreshes and their credit supply refreshes. Hey, if someone wants to do this and waste 2 hours of their real life on just pressing the wait button, go ahead.
And some of these cases would even spawn with legendary weapons, so this could be a great way to farm some god rolls if you wanted them. Although unfortunately this one was fixed with this most recent update, so the exploit no longer works. But then we have the reason that many of you will actually want to download this update, particularly if you're on Xbox. If you have been playing Starfield on Xbox or via the Microsoft Store, as this problem and this fix are only applicable on those two platforms, there was a game-breaking bug where playing the game for too long would make it so you were no longer able to save. Instead, saving would lead to an immediate crash. And specifically, this was impacting users who were deep into their original playthrough and didn't go through New Game Plus where everything's reset. Bethesda reports that the cause of this save crash was a memory leak, so saves would become unintentionally large and then break from just playing too long. And this became a very frustrating cycle where not only did hard saves lead to crashes, but many of the auto saves. So a lot of players didn't realize that it was saving that was causing them to crash because the game just auto saves as you do various things, and anytime that happened, they would crash. So thankfully, it seems like this specific issue was fixed, but again, it's just for...
Did they fix it though? Again, they say they fixed it, but does Bethesda actually fix bugs? It's a hard sell at this point.
Xbox and Microsoft Store players, but unfortunately, this is really only half of a two-pronged issue. Right now, Starfield has this dynamic form ID problem, and this is honestly quite similar in that users with old save games that have tons of hours will crash often. But here, users aren't crashing when they save, and instead, they're crashing...
Dude, that's so ironic. That's the one bug that no one ever experiences because no one gets past 4 hours in Starfield on average.
Just while doing regular things, while just trying to play the game. Several prominent members of the community have made great posts detailing what exactly is going on here. And you can find one commonality. It was oftentimes happening with saves that were very old and had many planets visited and many hours played. Several hundred hours just on a singular save game. And basically none of these players had gone through New Game Plus. So what seems to be going on is if you play Starfield, more and more form IDs are generated. Form IDs represent just about everything in the game, so items, characters, planets, etc. It's that little number you see when clicking on something with the console open. And specifically, dynamic form IDs are generated for actionable things. So if you drop an item, land somewhere, or even just generating new points of interest on a planet, each of those will have a corresponding dynamic.
Ooh, that sounds like an oof, yeah, because you see, the problem with Starfield, well, one of 3 billion problems with Starfield is the fact that when you're looting a corpse, you don't actually see your weight of your character, so you don't know ever if you're going to be over-encumbered or not. For some reason, Bethesda thought that it's a good idea when you're looting someone's corpse to see their corpse's weight. Why does their corpse even have weight, Bethesda? It seems like such a completely nonsensical thing to add. Why would I ever care about a NPC's corpse's maximum weight? What? No wonder this game's trash, you know what I'm saying? But in any case, when this happens and you're close to being encumbered, picking almost anything up will make you encumbered because, you know, that's just how Starfield works. And then you have to drop stuff. And yeah, I'd imagine if you have visited 30 planets, you have probably dropped hundreds of items at that point. So, you know, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Dynamic form ID assigned to them. And Starfield can handle a lot of these. Right now, the game can track up to 4 million dynamic form IDs at once. But thankfully, the game doesn't actually need to track that many. As you play and generate these, the game will automatically recycle and clear the old ones. So you never will actually have 4 million dynamic form IDs active at the same time.
Okay, so Bethesda makes a system. Makes a thing that makes sure the system works properly. Bethesda being Bethesda actually didn't do it properly, so it bugs out. Got it. I mean, this video is a whole classic Bethesda run-through, ain't it?
Problem being, it's not actually changing the name of the dynamic form IDs. So the data is being cleared, but the names of newly generated dynamic form IDs will continue to increase. And you can think of it like this. Starfield can only count to 4 million. And once you hit that number, everything in the game will just break because the game doesn't understand what's going on anymore. As you play the game and you put in several hundred hours into a save, you will gradually build towards this number as you explore new areas, interact with new NPCs, and eventually you'll just start crashing occasionally. Then you'll start crashing more frequently, and
Nice.
eventually your save will be entirely broken. All of that, of course, because you're getting closer and closer to that 4 million number, and the game can't handle that anymore. And I was able to test this out for myself. I used one of these broken saves, and I used this on the newly updated version of the game. So while playing Starfield with a save game that has 10 days of playtime, I
That
lasted a
looks so
whopping
bad,
2
though.
minutes and 50 seconds before I had a hard crash to desktop. So now this was just my
Nice.
first try. On subsequent plays I could last a bit longer, but every single time I was crashing from relatively normal activities, just jumping from system to system, landing on planets, exploring, and all of these crashes happened within 10 minutes. So pretty much rendering the game unplayable on a save with 10 days of playtime, which of course really sucks.
Is
A lot
he
of people get
playing on
really
the
attached to
lowest
this stuff.
settings?
Similar to the other issue, if you do go through New Game Plus, the value will reset here. So for many players, this is just a complete non-issue. You could play a good 50 to 100 hours of Starfield, then go through New Game Plus and things will reset, keeping your save safe for several hundred more hours. But if you never beat the game and play on a specific save for several hundred hours, you could just lose that save entirely. In the past games, this was a non
Dude, that sounds so bad though. Because what's the point of playing for several hundred hours Starfield without New Game Plus? I mean, there's no point in New Game Plus, do not get me wrong. It's pointless. But on the same save, it's like, do you really enjoy just, one-shotting or two-shotting or three-shotting and making an enemy stagger that much? Because that's it. Do you really enjoy just going through the same location 50 times? Because if you have played for... I mean, maybe these people are uniquely stupid. Maybe so... If there's currently a single player watching this who has 100 hours in Starfield, please leave a comment. Do you notice that locations are being recycled, and how often do you notice this? Because the average person notices that the locations are being recycled in Starfield roughly after their 4th planet. Or, depending on how many locations you actually visit. Because if you have seen 3 caves in a row, chances are the 4th cave is going to be a repeat of one of those 3 caves that you have seen before. So that's how bad Starfield's RNG is, right? So... I wonder if there's going to be someone who says, I have 100 hours in this game and I have not seen anything repeat. And if you haven't, have you considered doing an IQ test? I'm really interested. I will pay for your IQ test, in fact, We're gonna do the real one. Psychologist, everything. No internet BS3. Real IQ test. I wanna see how far you score. And if you get special needs benefits, so be it. At the end, that's a plus for you, I guess.
issue because they would just reuse IDs. In Skyrim, you would only ever use 20,000 or so dynamic form IDs. Then it would just start going back and reusing old IDs.
Why even throw a
Starfield just
grenade,
keeps
honestly,
counting up
in this
endlessly.
game?
So the naming of these IDs in Starfield keeps getting closer and closer to 4 million, where in Skyrim it would just get to 20,000, then reset and go back to 1 again. So this issue has been known about for about a month now, and lots of investigations have been done by veteran members of the modding community. Big names you're definitely going to recognize, like Wanking Skeever, who's been posting a ton of mods for Starfield. And this has been a big effort. These authors themselves have been testing a variety of save games from the community to create a proper report on all of this and what's going on. The issue now being that Bethesda was informed about this some time ago, and Starfield has received several more updates, and of course this hasn't been addressed yet. So then those modders have taken to reaching out to the media and even creating Reddit posts to try and raise awareness and get this bug solved.
Even creating a Reddit post? What do they think this is gonna accomplish? You know what the Reddit post is? If someone responds on the Reddit post, you know what it's gonna be. You know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be some random chat GPT response telling you that you're not playing Starfield the right way. That's what it's gonna be.
Forward impacts more players, because effectively this makes your Starfield save a ticking time bomb. You play too much and things could start breaking, and of course the longer the game is out, the more of an issue this will become. But thankfully, a Bethesda community manager also responded to one such post highlighting this issue just a couple of days ago, saying, "Hey everyone, thanks for the reports on this. The team is aware some players have been experiencing increased crashing and instability in the late game. It's been a high priority, and I'm happy to report that there's a fixed plan to address this for Xbox/Microsoft Store being included in our next update, currently scheduled for next week that we hope will resolve the issue for many of you. So what you may have noticed is they're talking about a completely different issue. And I mean, this Reddit post goes incredibly in-depth on the problem.
Dude, this is what I was talking about the previous video. You give a description of a bug to the Starfield guys, and they actually respond to you in a non-chat GPT way, right? And they're talking about a completely separate issue, and they're not talking about a completely separate issue because they're trying to dodge the subject. There's just so many bugs. You describe 3 things to a Bethesda employee that's supposed to fix a bug. He actually starts fixing a different bug because he thinks that's the bug you're talking about. This is crazy.
Way more in depth than I do. The bug referenced by Bethesda in this post is the one that we just highlighted in this video. It was fixed just yesterday. And it doesn't even apply to a significant portion of the community, as this fix didn't go on Steam at all, likely because the problem isn't on Steam. So when asked about this by the original author of this post, Bethesda responded again, saying, "Next week's fix addresses instability while playing the game, but the devs are investigating a separate issue relating to dynamic form IDs that is preventing people from successfully loading their saves, and hope to have that fixed in a later update. Additionally, they're actively looking into long load times on Steam, and I've passed along a couple of saves from the community for them to check out." So it is great to see this getting some attention by Bethesda, but I think it is easy to see how this is an incredibly frustrating situation for those who reverse engineering and giving detailed reports on this problem. They did a significant amount of work to figure out what exactly the problem is here, but
I'm not gonna lie, if you go that far for Starfield, for Bethesda, I think you're an idiot. This is not being a good, kind Samaritan who's doing something out of love. This is just blatant autism at work here. Like, Bethesda is not gonna care. They're gonna say, and that's it. There you go. At best case.
Amount of work to figure out what exactly the problem is here, but aren't seeing it get addressed with the same amount of severity and urgency that they probably think the problem deserves. Realistically speaking, at this point, Starfield isn't seeing another update for at least about a month, and probably a bit longer due to the holidays and this.
You know what I love about this garbage? It's the fact that bullets that go out of your gun are not slowed when you use the slow cyan mode. But grenades that you throw magically are slow. That makes no sense at all. How does that work? Why aren't bullets slowed when you do this? But grenades magically are.
A branch system, which I personally am a huge fan of, but it definitely makes the updates take a little bit longer. And if anything, I really think the devs here deserve a break after launching such a gigantic game, so I hope they have a wonderful holiday break. So thankfully, while this is a very critical issue,
I think the devs deserve a beating.
It really is just you play the game enough and it breaks, but the vast majority of you watching right now will never encounter this bug because you won't play enough Starfield. Between New Game Plus and just not putting in several hundred hours into a single save file, you'll be fine. And one of the big reasons so many of these mod authors have come out and actually voiced their own concerns around this issue is they're the ones being most impacted by it. Mod authors spending several hundred hours testing and creating their own mods who are now unable to access those save games. But of course, even beyond all of this, there was also quite a bit of frustration over how small this update was. It's been 1 month since the last major update to
This is what I'm talking about, Starfield combat. You either kill something in 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and if it takes 2 or 3 shots, they're staggering. You shoot them and they stagger instantly. This is so stupid.
to the game, and thankfully that one was great, dramatically increasing FPS with DLSS support and further optimizations, but 3 changes to the game in 4 weeks is pretty insane, especially when one of these changes doesn't actually work for all players. So now in Bethesda's defense, there was another major US holiday in between, but as of right now, Starfield has a fair few problems that really need to be addressed. Of course, what we spoke about with this crashing issue from too much playing, but there are also tons of people who just can't talk to May and complete the Freestar questline right now. I had this exact issue the first week of the game's release.
That this could be solved with the idea that you can blow May's head off her shoulders. Oh, but no. But no, sadly.
release, and it's still here where May just won't talk to you with the red mile, and in turn, you can't complete the red mile. Another game-breaking bug lots of users are facing is no enemies spawning on ships. So after something happens in the game, enemy ships will just be empty. After boarding, you'll find nobody on board.
By the way, this is so hilarious because when the game came out, no one was talking about these bugs. Now Bethesda is like doing small minor tweaks to the game that should probably not impact something like enemies being on ships, but this is the outcome. They add an eat button and suddenly there's no enemies on the ships. This is so crazy.
Board and just be free to take the ship for yourself, and this will even impact a landed ship. So this starborn ship that landed right in front of me has no enemies around it because for some reason they never spawned, and I was able to just board the ship even though I shouldn't be able to do that either. This kind of bug really neuters the whole space piracy aspect of the game, and as of right now the only major fix known is to go through New Game Plus and just start over, among many other bugs ranging from large to small.
Nice.
But of course this is super rough for those who are facing some of these major bugs that are inhibiting their progress. But to Bethesda's credit, as I was filming this video, they've been responding to complaints around each of these major bugs. Like literally every single bug I just highlighted to you happened to get a response from Bethesda in the time I was
Yeah, and every single response is, yeah, we know, stop, please, we don't care. Yeah, the game's bugged, whoop-de-doop-de.
filming this video. Now most of these responses are basically just saying, yes, we're aware of it and we're working on a fix, with some more notable things like ultra-wide support reportedly being on the finishing touches and likely coming in the next update, the first one of 2024. I'm not sure what happened over the past couple of days, but Bethesda is clearly being way more active in the community subreddit, and this is something I am incredibly happy to see. But it seems like Bethesda has started to notice some of this negative feedback as the official Bethesda Game Studios account replied to this patch note post on Reddit, and they actually did this literally as I was filming this, saying, "Hey everyone, first, we read all the feedback here and greatly appreciate it and all the time and thought you put into the game. This small update was to mostly address the pet asteroid so many asked about following our last larger update, and we wanted to get that out before the holiday. We've been hard at work on many of the issues you've posted."
Man, but this is so crazy at the end of the day. Bethesda does something called a large update. No one cares because no one sees the point in it even, honestly, except them nerfing something that people liked. And then, voila! Here you have. Now there's a pit asteroid bug that more people are pissed about. 250 devs, boys. 250 devs are still working at this garbage pile. I just want to make that clear. 250 people are still working on this. How is that possible?
And expect an update early next year that will include a large number of in-progress quest fixes as well as FSR3 and XESS. Though we fixed several quest issues from occurring in-progress quests.
Also, the thing about anything that any game developer promises next year, well, when the year passes, you forget about a lot of stuff, right? New year, new you, all of that good stuff, right? There's someone chainsawing something? It's snowing outside. What do you mean? Anyway, so yeah, anything that Bethesda says they're gonna do next year, I will immediately assume they're lying. But then again, I assume everything Bethesda says immediately is a lie anyway, so, you know.
Quest fixes are much harder to fix, and we built a new system to correct those without you having to roll back your save. We're also hard at work on many new features you asked for, from city maps to mod support to all new ways of traveling. Stay tuned.
City maps.
These will be rolling out with a regular cadence of fixes and updates we expect to have roughly every 6 weeks.
They will never add a city map, by the way. It's stupid. Because if Bethesda adds a city map, it's gonna be free, right? The only way Bethesda adds a city map is if it's the worst city map you have ever seen. But judging how bad the inventory system honestly is, maybe this is going to be the worst mini map we have ever seen in our lives. And city map. Oh boy. Because the moment that Bethesda has no reason to fix any of these bugs, or any of these issues, or improve anything. Because when the paid mods come, someone's gonna, someone's gonna be selling already and making Bethesda money with a city map mod for like $5. And someone else is gonna be making Bethesda $15 because here, good, actual, feasible, usable inventory systems. And things like that.
weeks. If something can be done in a smaller hotfix in between, like the asteroid, and we feel it's safe, we'll get one of those out as well. Safe is the key here. We do take a lot of time to test even the smallest change in a game this large and dynamic. Hope this information helps. If there are items you want more info on or issues to make us aware of, keep posting here or our official Discord. Thanks again for all your support of us and the game. So a few things to break down here. One, I absolutely love this greater degree of communication on Reddit. They responded to several posts this week, and I really hope this continues, even after the long holiday break. But further, these are some really exciting new features. It seems like Bethesda Game Studios has been working on a more in-depth system to resolve quest progress blocking problems. The core part about this system being you don't have to revert to a save, which is honestly gigantic. Lots of the time when you have quest fixes for an RPG, it only fixes the cause, the trigger of the bug. So if you're in a save game where May isn't talking to you and you just keep playing for another 5, 10, 20 hours, when they fix the bug, your May will still be broken. You'll have to revert to a save before you started talking to her, which basically just means losing tons of hours of progress. But here...
No, that probably means losing your whole character.
Seems like Bethesda's describing not having to deal with that. It'll resolve the cause of the bug, but also saves that already have the bug, which would be massive. FSR 3 coming will also be gigantic. This will hopefully bring gigantic performance gains for AMD users, but more importantly, FSR 3 can come to consoles and lead to huge boosts over there as well. This could be the push that finally enables Starfield to have a performance mode on consoles that properly runs at 60 FPS all the time. But what is of course the biggest thing mentioned here are the new ways of traveling, and I'm very curious to see what this entails. It seems like this could be a response to—
Dude, whatever he's shooting from this gun, it definitely does damage to you point blank in your face, you know? I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing that can come out of this gun point blank and in your face that doesn't severely damage or end you, okay? Just want to point that out. Unlethal. Yeah, as unlethal as a drone grenade.
Ways of traveling, and I'm very curious to see what this entails. It seems like this could be a response to one of two things. Either the load screens, so perhaps a more intuitive...
Also, by the way, these unlethal things are happening in a place that has directly lava below you. These people are gonna die while sleeping or paralyzed from heat exposure to the lungs. Or carbon monoxide poisoning or something like that. Pick one, honestly.
It seems like this could be a response to one of two things. Either the load screens, so perhaps a more intuitive way to travel around where you don't have to deal with as many load screens. And although that would be great, I have a feeling this is more likely to be a response to the landing on planets and then having to run for 5 minutes to get to the point of interest or whatever your destination is.
Classic.
Perhaps they're planning on adding in a more specialized means of travel. A lot of people are pointing towards vehicles, but I wouldn't be shocked if they add in a more specialized jetpack that will make the process of getting from the landing site to where your point of interest is a lot quicker. Which, while that in its own right will be great and really be a huge boost for exploration in Starfield, if you really want to fix or dramatically improve exploration, you'll need some new points of interest generation. Getting to the points of interest faster will be great, but you're going to need a larger variety of points of interest to really make this system fun and engaging, at least in my opinion. But overall, I think this is one of the best updates we have seen for Starfield thus far, because it's really the first time we've seen Bethesda admitting—
Oh yeah, I know this. He's gonna go here and then he's gonna shoot this guy. I remember this clip. Yeah, he's gonna go here, completely miss the guy, then turn around and shoot him.
To some of the larger issues in Starfield, they're really shown that they have at least some plans to resolve those issues. In past posts, they've talked about adding missing features, but this is the closest we've come to them actively pursuing some late design changes that many players have been wanting. Over the past few weeks, Starfield has definitely been getting battered. In my last video, I highlighted Bethesda responding to negative Starfield reviews, and that ended up blowing up into a much larger story, which seems to have led to Bethesda—
Dude, show me a week when Starfield is not getting just dragged through the mud. Show me a day when people are positive about Starfield. That has not happened since the... Well, it has never happened. Even when even when just the trailer was dropping, people were already negative, including me, about this game because it was visibly garbage.
no
Come
longer
on.
responding to reviews. The last response I could find was from November 28th, which was right around when this started to get more widely covered. But I could see everything start to turn around relatively soon. In the mods update from a couple of months ago, and once again here, Bethesda did talk about bringing full mod support early in 2024. And I feel like that could really be the explanation for these small updates.
Boys.
These Starfield updates are small because Bethesda isn't working on updating the game as much as they're working on mod support and perhaps even DLC. We recently heard how there are still 250 developers on the game, and like I certainly hope this is not a month's work from 250 developers. In reality, they're probably working on other things with a smaller team working on some of these updates. In past videos, we talked about how for Starfield mods to really work, they have to fix some broken internals with the game, but with mods, some fresh DLC that potentially takes some lessons from the base game and even an update or two working to resolve major fan complaints, I could totally see the narrative around Starfield start to shift in early 2024 if all goes well. But at the same time, it seems almost certain at this point that paid mods are also coming to Starfield. We just got that system added into Skyrim with the most recent update, and if you're interested in learning more about what this may mean for Starfield,
it means that it means nothing. It means more expensive stuff. That's it. Oh man, what a time to be alive, boys. Oh, Juicehead. You give me such joy covering Starfield. I love you, man. I really do. Anyway, that was it. Starfield, as always, bellissimo. Muchama pachama. That's not Spanish, not Italian. Isn't Spanish just a knockoff of Italian or the other way around? Who honestly knows? Anyway, that's pretty much it. If I offended any Latinas, I'm sorry. But if you're just a Latino dude, I'm not sorry. Only the Latinas get a sorry because they're hot. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Citizen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye bye.